Hello. Hey everyone. Hi. We're gonna wait a couple minutes for people to join, but welcome. How's it going? Hello. Yeah, we're gonna give it like another minute, but yeah, excited to share a little more what we've been up to. Um, and yeah, good. Glad the microphone is working and stuff. This is our first time with this particular setup, so hopefully it works well. Hello. Okay. I think we'll get started. Yeah. So, we've been working on this new project now for the last few months, and we're at a point now where we have something that we're excited to share with folks. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Uh, we'll have a quick demo, and then we're also going to have an open Q&A. We have a number of questions that came in from the Slido link, but also if you have anything you want to ask, we can just chat informally here too. And we'll try to answer all the questions that come in, if any. Please try to be generally respectful, to contribute constructively to any discussion. We want to talk about whatever people want to talk about. Just try to be respectful and constructive when you do so. So with that, let me jump into a little more about why we're doing this. So we're very excited about this idea of crypto being this fair layer for finance, the internet, digital systems in general. This idea of this, this network made of many small nodes, made of many people that are all securing the system. But I think this isn't exactly what's happened in crypto so far. In reality, we've ended up with networks that maybe are a little better in some ways, but are still relatively few parties controlling and operating them. And we think that's unfortunate for a number of reasons. And we're very interested in seeing, can we build something that is much more decentralized? I remember for myself, very kind of early 2010s, there was this idea that we would point our computers at Bitcoin and kind of all collectively help secure the network, but also get rewards from it. And that's not really what's happened in general. That was a short era before proof of work became increasingly centralized, and then proof of stake had more limited opportunities as well. You had to have a lot of tokens to contribute as an operator. So we're very interested in, can we go back to this world of many small equal nodes? We think that participants, that can have a lot of value, but also we think that it can open up many new kinds of networks and applications of crypto that so far, crypto's done a lot of things, but we think there's even more possible if we can build actually new kinds of networks. Yeah. So here's what we're imagining instead. So what we're thinking is that we have users' devices connecting directly to the network, peer-to-peer, to each other, basically. And those devices are directly producing the blocks which make the network in the background. So you're going through your day and your phone is every once in a while helping run the network by making blocks. And this is all in some app that's very easy to use, very straightforward. It's something that, if you're deep into crypto, you can see why it's interesting and use it. But also, if you're new to crypto, you can still just use this and be part of this new network. Here's a little bit about how that's working under the hood. We have a lot more to share on this, and we'll be working both maybe later in the Q&A as well as both in the next few weeks talking more about this. But we're having access to block production itself gated by private proof of humanity. So you'll be able to prove uniqueness without disclosing your personal information. We're thinking towards using ZK Passport for this right now. It seems like a lot of the implementations cover a very large % of the world's passports. I've seen as much as 90% plus. And, so it's a pretty widely distributed way of doing private proof of humanity. You can just touch your phone to your passport and get that information to prove uniqueness. It's gated by that. So we have Sybil resistance. So you can't just buy a lot of phones and connect to the network. You have to actually do a little more to get access to block production. And then after that, the number of blocks you get are proportional to your participation in the network. So if you just register your identity, maybe you'll get some blocks. But if you register your identity, you contribute to some DeFi protocols, you contribute to the ecosystem, et cetera. You do all these more things, you'll start getting more blocks. And you get a bigger stake in both operating the network and a bigger stake of rewards, basically, if you're performing these tasks. And then we talked about, these are all produced in the background on your phone. So hopefully it's very seamless. You just open your phone again from the last time you opened the app and you see what happened since the last time. Under the hood, there's zero knowledge proofs to make the blockchain stay very lightweight. So it can sync very quickly to mobile devices. We don't want to use a lot of bandwidth. We don't want to use a lot of battery life, et cetera. So we're using that for that part of the architecture. There's also a lot going on around a modular architecture we've been working on that ensures that we can do this block production on mobile while still having pretty good performance, because we want low latency, we want high throughput. In a traditional blockchain architecture, that would be really hard to do on mobile. But we have these different modular components that make the actual work done on mobile, which we still have like kind of the key parts for decentralization on mobile, also very lightweight, so that we can actually have this be feasible to run on people's devices without killing our battery life, without using a lot of bandwidth, et cetera. So what this actually means for users, here's what we're hoping this can do for people actually using the network. For one, you'll receive these blocks and you'll receive the rewards from them directly on your own device. So you have a wallet on your phone, you'll receive your rewards there. Fully self-custodied, as well as your phone is really operating a full node on the network and getting rewards for it. Those rewards being, again, proportional to your contributions, so you contribute more, get more blocks, et cetera. We're hoping also this can mean far more distributed participation in network operation. We're hoping this doesn't mean like 100 nodes or 200 nodes. We're hoping we can have thousands or even potentially millions, hopefully someday, of phones that are helping run this network. So massively distributed relative to a lot of the networks we have today. We also hope this means for users, like as kind of someone that has interest now in operating the protocol, this provides some greater assurance of long-term control for users on the network. It seems to me like a lot of new networks as they come up actually do seem relatively aligned with their user bases. Like, it's a classic example. I think back to like Facebook in the early days. Like, it seemed like they were doing things that were aligned with users, but as time goes on, I think it can be seen that these networks generally shift their focus from being very aligned with users to looking at being more extractive once they've established the network effects and everything that happens when you have a large network. So we're also hoping that through this kind of architecture, it can be possible to avoid that, which we're hoping is in users' interests and people are excited about and can leverage new kinds of systems in general, or can realize new kinds of systems in general. So these are the kinds of things we're hoping that we can do with this. Some of them are longer term, but generally it's a new design for these kinds of networks, and we're hoping these kinds of things can be possible. This all said, we're going to be very narrow at first. We don't think we can build kind of everything initially. We want to be very focused. So we're not going to be building general purpose smart contracts at first, probably. We're not going to be building general purpose applications even. We're going to focus on a few DeFi primitives and try to get them working well. So there'll be a place where you have these kind of user-owned DeFi primitives where hopefully, if we can do it right, you'll get both better short-term value out of it because the same short-term value out of it because you're still using those primitives, but also better long-term value because you're also capturing the kind of indirect rewards from running the underlying protocol. So we're hoping that it can be possible to build a DeFi network that is much more user-aligned and can be better for users, basically, both in terms of the value received, both in terms of alignment, in terms of all those things. We want to get these primitives working really well so that they can provide a lot of value to people using the network. We can really focus on them and getting them right. That's our first thing we want to get done. Beyond that, we do want to eventually do general purpose applications. So this does mean kind of opening up the platform for anyone to build on. We think when there's some threshold of number of users, this will make a lot of sense to do, and it will then be appealing for people to build on because there'll be, enough users that it's attractive for a developer to develop for. And we're hoping that those kinds of applications can also bring some of the benefits we talked about earlier, where you can have general purpose applications that users can feel like they can invest in more because they're going to be more aligned with them over time. They're, because you're helping operate it, they're not going to start becoming more extractive, or at least you'll have some input in how they change over time if they do. So that's kind of the very high level overview of what we're doing right now. I want to share a quick demo of where we've gotten to so far. So, disclaimer, this is the first, the very early version of what we've been working on. And, it's going to change in the future, obviously, but we do have it working, which we think is really cool. So we wanted to share what we have so far for that. So you can see I can open the app. This is on iOS. We have it working on iOS and Android. This is the iOS version. You open it up, it syncs. It's actually already done syncing, so pretty fast. I could have shown the progress bar as it goes, but quite quick. And so now my phone is connected to the network, peer-to-peer. Small network right now. We only have 2 other peers that will grow, hopefully, in the future as we more people join the network and we launch more nodes. But on the screen, you can see most of the key ideas of what we're trying to do here. So you can see the number of tokens I've won so far for the current epoch, the current cycle of block production. And you can see how many tokens I'm projected to get in the next epoch. The numbers are adjusting as it calculates more slots and who won them, or whether this phone won them or not. But you can see the general idea from that. You can also see your current, at the moment we call it tier, but probably could be subject to change. And you can see that the idea is that as you go up and we're getting more points, you'll get more blocks and more tokens on the network. And it'll make it really clear to see what activities will help both support the network. We want all the activities that people do to support the network and also align that with you getting more points and more rewards for doing those activities. So, for example, we imagine that locking stablecoins will be something that is useful for building the DeFi network. Doing that will result in getting more points and therefore going up in tier, however we end up doing that, and then resulting in you getting more tokens during the next following epochs. So we're excited to share more on that kind of the next probably few of these, but that's where it's starting. We'll probably also have things like invite friends as well for this, things that are around growth, but we'll probably be really focused on making sure that there's actually useful value on the network too. And that, we're growing and we're all adding value to this thing that we're doing. You can also get a lot more information. Here's, for example, a block that is scheduled. You can ignore the time. It's something, the 9:41 is something Apple has done for some reason when you share your screen in some cases. But in my time zone, this will be in around a minute or two. There's a slot that I'm scheduled to win. And you can see that it's scheduled to be produced at this time. And at that point, it will go and do all the things locally on my phone to produce that block and transmit it to the network. You can see some data for a previously produced block. So you can see here's a block that was won recently. It included batches of transactions. We do batches to make it more efficient. It includes other information about state transitions, a lot of this global consensus related information. It applies it under the hood. There's a UTXO system going on, and then it commits it. We'll hide the UTXO stuff from users, we think, but we will. But under the hood, it makes things a lot more efficient in some ways. And then the block gets confirmed and added to the network. You can see more information about it, the height, the global slot, etc., all these things. So you get that on your home screen, and you'll be able to see that information about your block producer. We also have another screen which digs way deeper into what's actually happening here. You can see like all the recent blocks on the network. You can see which blocks are won and when they're going to be produced. You can see information about the peers you're connected to. You can see the blocks you've produced. So you can get all this information also about your node and its current view of the network. We also have a wallet screen. You can see this is like kind of a test account, but you can see the number of tokens. You can see that these are from block rewards that this account has gotten. And you'll be able to send and receive tokens here, all the normal things. And we're also going to be working on, of course, like a bunch of very built into the application DeFi functionality. This will all look very different in the real thing. This is literally just like we wanted a placeholder. But we'll be working on having some of this functionality in the application, and when you interact with it, it resulting in you're supporting the network, getting more blocks, etc. And hopefully also being actually useful if you use this kind of functionality. This being a place where if you're already doing this, you could do it here, get more rewards, and also support a very different kind of network. So that's it for what we wanted to demo for this application. For now, there's more going on in this app, but what we're trying to do at this moment is get it to a point where we can start having people test it, which we're very excited about. You can see it kind of works already in my own on our devices, but there's a few things we have left to do, and then we will be looking to have hopefully folks helping test this and starting to run it, producing blocks and earning rewards and all of that. Let me go back to the presentation, like one more slide, and then we'll do Q&A. So that's where we are so far with this, basically. Just the last thing is, like, if you want to get involved in this, you can help test the mobile and server apps when they're ready. As I just said, we're hard at work trying to get this to a place where people can start testing them. Pretty close, so that'll be pretty soon. There's a Google form here if you want to sign up to become a beta tester for this new application. There's a link in the description. It should be in the YouTube video as well if you don't want to type all these characters out. I also want to say, like, this is a very new kind of network and a very new approach. Like, success will be really dependent if we can actually have a group of people that want to build this new kind of network. Like, we'll see. It has to be a little different than a lot of the other networks that have existed so far. So if you want to help make something like this happen, please, try the application, give feedback, help make it happen. That's all I have for this presentation. Thank you for listening and seeing the demo. And yeah, we'll switch to Q&A now. Thank you. Yeah. And yeah, if anyone wants to join the stage from the team too to answer questions, we can do that. I'll start just with like ones in the chat actually, and can go from there to the Slido. So yeah, this is a good question. What about network security if block production depends on user activity? I think I can actually click it, which is not proof of stake, but still proof of activity. So yeah, so this is really important. So there will be we're probably going to do two things here. For one, there will probably be a combination of some blocks going to token holders and some blocks going to people participating via their phone. Like, for example, we're thinking it could be like 50-50. So there's still like some mechanism by which like token ownership is in the security assumptions, probably. And then the other half of the security assumptions will be based upon the assumptions around what it takes to get an identity on the network and what that identity is a fraction of all the identities, if that makes sense. So for example, if all identities had the same weight, you would have to get a very large number of identities, either by breaking the proof of humanity system or by having a smaller but still substantial number that has performed a lot of activities on the network. You'll max out at some point probably the amount of activities relative to what kind of multiplier it gives you. So you couldn't just keep doing activities like indefinitely to get more influence. But there will be an interesting security property that involves kind of both parameters. Yeah. I'm going to add other folks to the screen now also if it's cool. So yeah. We have like a subset of the team. I hope it's cool. I'm just adding all of you. Any other questions before I start taking some from the Slido? And we can alternate also between Slido and non-Slido. Yeah, actually, does someone want to take the question about what proof systems we're looking at? If we want to say anything at this point, I know we're still investigating too.
Yeah, yeah, I can take that one. Hi everyone. First of all, I really believe that it's too early to speak about that proof system. So we are exploring a few of them, and we'll be selecting the most performant one. So, but at this stage, it's really too early to say anything about it.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Let me take one from the Slido. As an end user, I'm curious about the TPS and latency. Will the user-operated decentralized network be fast enough? Does anyone want to take this one?
Maybe I can take it. Yeah. So about the TPS, I'm partially not worried about that because computation-wise, what a block processor and the mobile block processor has to do is pretty cheap. So a lot of work happens in the batches where we are pre-proving the transactions that are broadcasted in the network. And then those patches are just fetched by the block processors. Proof is verified for the whole batch. Yeah, multiple batches can be included in the block. So it's quite cheap for a block processor to operate. So it's not a major bottleneck for the network, I would
say. Yeah, thank you very much, Zora, for that. And just to add on that, so to give like an order of idea, it's not committing or over-committing at all, but we are targeting a few tens of TPS at launch with potential heavy improvements after that. So to make it short, we are not worried about the TPS, and it will be a good number.
Nice, yeah. Let me take another one from the, it's actually a related one too. Will it be easy to achieve finality quickly? Is there support for a privacy layer?
I can take the second part of it, which is the privacy part of it. So the solution is made to support privacy if needed, okay? But at this stage, we decided to not enable it at all, okay? And then depending on the needs, depending on the use cases, it's a decision we may take later to enable it or not. But also this is taking into account the compliance and the regulatory aspect of it. So our role is also to build something that is compliant and also aligned with regulatory expectations. And then the first one is about finality. Not sure if someone wanted to take it.
Yeah, sure. So about the quick finality, we already do have some ideas how to approach that subject. And also in case of our network, things are very different than in traditional blockchains where pretty much all of the nodes or block producers are running in the network, like always running 24/7. In our case, most block producers will be asleep most of the time, and they will only wake up when it's time to actually produce the block. So in that sense, it kind of also reduces how large the network is at any given time. So it makes broadcasting things a lot cheaper because yeah, network is kind of smaller in that way. However, we don't lose out on decentralization in spite that. But yeah, we are exploring options in that matter, and yeah, we should be able to achieve fast finality.
Yeah, same here to do a quick comparison. Once again, thank you very much, Zura. So in terms of finality, I know that there are like blockchains where finality is several hours, and we are not targeting several hours. So we are targeting, okay, I would say a few tenths of seconds. And yeah, so that's the order of the idea when it comes to finality. Once again, we don't have yet the final numbers. And as soon as we have more to share, we will do it.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Let me quickly address like the Mina one, and then we'll go back to the ones in the Slido. Yeah, we can't say much about Mina. It's not really our project anymore. Like, I would encourage like looking at some of the recent discussion on Twitter. There's been a good bit discussed there. So I would suggest looking there for more context. Yeah. Yeah. How are rewards distributed? Per block, per epoch? Is it tied to uptime, activity, or contribution to DeFi primitives? So I can take this one. So at the moment, in the app as it is right now, they are distributed per block to like as you make blocks. But we are likely going to be transitioning to per epoch, and that's something that will be nice to do because it will allow us to make rewards much more deterministic. Right now, it's kind of based on like, did you win the VRF or not? You won't always do that. Sometimes you'll win more or less. So we want to make it much more deterministic that way. And yeah, the model will factor in like identity, activity, contribution to DeFi, and stake, all of that stuff. So we want to like make sure we're really doing a good job targeting participation with rewards, basically. Does anyone want to add anything to that? No, okay, cool. Okay, yeah, is block production deterministic or probabilistic? How is the device chosen to propose a block? Lottery style, VRF, stake weighted, or activity based?
I can take that one, and it will be pretty quick. So at least it's mainly VRF at this stage, based on stake and participation bonuses. So this is what Ivan just highlighted right now. But there is yeah, so VRF based on stake and participation in the network. So the participation in the network impacts the VRF results. So it's not only based on the stake.
Yeah. Let's answer one from the, so from the chat, like I can click on it and make it show up. This question about stablecoin rails and this product utility towards that. So yeah, we've actually talked about this a bit internally. Our suspicion is that there is some network size at which this becomes appealing for users to use. But like what that size is, I think we have yet to like figure out. Probably what we need to do is get some of the other use cases working, like the more simple like DeFi ones that we can do with a smaller number of users. And then once we get to some size, we will consider this is definitely like a use case. I think it can be competitive in terms of throughput and cost. So we'll see exactly where we land, a little bit kind of sharing possible plans, but that's the kind of thing we're thinking about is when we get to some size, we do think this can be competitive for these. Yeah. I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything on that one also. No, okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's a good question. I think a key question, yeah, is like, what primitives do we unlock when and incentivize when? Some of them I think are clear, but we'd love to be at a point where we could have a network where people are using these things for payments, getting value back in terms of like lower fees, in terms of like helping operate the layer 1 network, et cetera. Yeah. And also I should mention, like from like a decentralization side, it also would be like really powerful. Like, so for the subset of users that care about this network being fully peer-to-peer and care about, you know, all those sides of it, even especially if we had privacy at some point, that also seems powerful, having this much more distributed network for that. Yeah. Okay, next question. Is the tokenomics already made? What is the emission and inflation plan, and will there be token governance? Yeah. Does someone want to take this one? I can take it too. Okay, I can take it. So we're still designing this basically, you know, and there's a lot of parameters to figure out for this. There's specifics about some of the rewards for users. There's specifics about inflation, token emission schedules, and you know, how all the governance will tie in, that we've been thinking a lot about and working on, but we're basically still finalizing, and we'll share more details as we have it ready. So probably some things sooner than later as we start sharing more documentation, but basically it's in progress. Yeah. Okay, next question from Slido. What are the technical differences from Mina?
I can take that one, and Zora, I believe you will add a lot of things on top of what I will say, but let me start. So I don't want to compare to Mina, but the way we design the solution is mainly modular way. Okay, so having different roles in the architecture, and each role accomplishes a given task. So that make it really high performant solution and L1. So this is from technical point of view. And if I can give few numbers, so if you look today, Mina, I think there is like slot time of 3 minutes, and I know that there is planned hard fork to reduce that. I don't know the number. I'm not speaking on behalf of Mina, of course, but here in our solution, we are speaking about seconds of slot time. So this is like one major difference. Then the second one can be related to the size of the blocks, how many transactions you can include in that block. So that's also a major difference. But also there is like somehow major difference between the architecture. So I don't think we have to compare the two solutions. But what I can say here is that what we have built is we try to put the end user as the center of this solution, okay, and try to incentivize the end users who do activities on this network. So it's I would say it's mobile first. It's centered around the end user. So I believe somehow Mina tries to do that too, but for me there is somehow a difference. And what we try to achieve is to get it working from day one on your mobile. So that's also another difference. Once again, I don't want to compare with Mina. I think there is also a nice vision there at Mina, and we respect totally that. Yeah, we are just building another thing that is somehow different with a different paradigm, I would say. So I will stop here. I will not go too deeper. Zora, I'm not sure if you wanted to say anything else.
Yeah, I will just add one small thing that pretty big difference is when we do proving exactly, like in Mina's case, you first include transactions in a block and then you prove them later and turn it into eventually recursive blockchain proof. And in our case, we what we want to do and what we are doing is we are proving transactions first as they go into the mempool. We batch them, and then that pre-proved transactions that get included in the block. And mainly this is so that we can make things cheaper. First of all, for block producers. And yeah, there are a bunch of other consequences and reasons we decided to go this route. Take a while to cover them all, so I'll stop here.
Yeah, cool. Next question. So this is a good question. Android and Apple both don't like apps running in the background that drain large resources, battery, etc. Have you thought of ways to get around this?
Yeah, I can take it since I'm working heavily on that. That's a hard question to be fully transparent. And even if you look elsewhere, I don't think like a viable and solid solution is there. And we are exploring different solutions. And part of the solutions, first one will be using the active app. If the app is active, it can produces the block with limited resources, with low memory and CPU. So that's like the first part of the solution. Then you have the second use case where the application is somehow in the background, not in the foreground, and there will also leverage scheduled tasks, but also scheduled notifications to trigger block production. And there is a third case, which is even more difficult, which is maybe your app is not running, okay? And there, same thing. So we'll be leveraging the background tasks, but also the scheduled notifications, where you can get notification ahead of the block production time. And then you can start your application to produce that. So these are like the easiest, I would say, options we are already implementing. Then there are, it's actually deeper than this, where we are thinking about advanced strategies to cover the cases where like the phone is not online, or if you are sleeping and you cannot be there to open your app or produce that in the background by delegating, for instance, the block your slot to someone else. Yeah, so this is like another strategy we are exploring, and there are a lot of other strategies we are exploring. Same thing. As soon as we have like the final documentation, we'll share that with you. Hopefully, that will bring more clarity on how to do it.
Yeah, I know it's one of the next things we're also building out too, so we'll have a lot more experience with which of the strategies actually work well next too. Thanks, yeah. Okay, a few more questions. Yeah, let's do the follow-up actually first. Maybe an idea could be to introduce a range of simple games puzzle to keep people using the app /node active regularly. Yeah, potentially. My ideal experience for this would be like that you open the app and you don't have to think about it, and the next time you open it, you will see basically what happened since the last time you opened it, and you'll see how many blocks got produced in the background, etc. So that's the goal. But I could imagine maybe for some like heavier computational tasks, if they ended up being also relevant in the app, maybe something like that could also make a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Okay, yeah, this person asks, what are the roles, execution, builder, proposer, action reducer, prover, consensus, and what are the economic incentives between them? Does anyone want to talk about high level what the network roles are?
Is the question about general roles, like what type of nodes we have? I didn't quite hear.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I was reading it as like, oh no, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so the question is mainly what are the roles, and the person who asked the question provided examples: execution, builder, proposer, action reducer, prover, consensus, and what are the economic incentives between them. I think in the question there is already part of the answer, I would say. Yeah, to make it short, we use, from technology point of view, we use modular architecture. We leverage Redux-like state machine with actions, reducers, events, and side effects. So this is really the state machine. This is like the low-level core of the L1. Then on the high-level roles, we will be having the mobile nodes. We'll have also server-based nodes. We'll have also batchers, and the batchers are mainly the ones who will sequence the transactions, prove them, and manage batches and create proof for those batches, and those batches will be included in the blocks. So this is the role of the batcher. Then we'll have a role called block provers. This is mainly to prove the blocks or batch of blocks, just to keep the chain succinct. Then we'll have for sure an archive node, and the archive node is somehow similar to the other blockchains that will be used mainly to store the history of the transactions. Yeah, I hope I covered most of it. Now, if I go back to the low-level modules, so we will have really separate modules. We will have P2P, we will have block production module, consensus, RPC, batchers, identity, mempool, wallet. So all those are separate modules as part of the L1. So this is the way we have built it. So yeah, so the low level and then the high level roles.
Nice.
Now, yeah, I think there is one part which is mainly the economic incentives. Yeah, I think this is somehow part of the tokenomics too. And as we said previously, we are heavily working on that, and we cannot say too much at this stage. But also when we think we have something, yeah, so it will be, there will be active discussions with community to get feedback, to adjust it also based on community feedback. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Are we focusing on light nodes and full nodes focusing on finality? I'm not sure exactly what they mean, but
yeah, answer.
Yeah.
At least based on what I understand. So in our case, we kind of shouldn't need like a light node per se, like a separate implementation which does things differently, which has to trust some external node or something like that. So for anything, like whether it's wallet, block producer, or or some decentralized application which needs access to for L1 data, for all of them, like normal node implementation will be used. except we can maybe run it in different modes to save on memory, for example, or not have to sync up the whole whole ledger, for example. But just to mention and clarify, this won't be at the cost of security or relying on some external service or something like that. So for that reason, I would prefer not to use term like node, and yeah, because it's quite different in that sense.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. There's a bunch of other questions that came in like as we were talking on the Slido. And we can try going through those also. Let's see. Is there going to be a minimum spec for iPhone/Android? Yeah, do we know, have a sense of that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, please don't come with the Nokia. What is that one? 3310 or something like that. There will be for sure like minimal requirements. We cannot say there is no requirement at all. That's pretty risky. But also we don't expect heavy devices. Okay, so that's like the short answer. We don't have. So it will be hard like to give like very specific requirement that depends on on the operating system. It depends on the brand of that phone. It depends on the OS version. Yeah, so it's the configuration is hard to communicate, I would say. But to make it short, I think like a phone with a decent resources can do the work easily.
Yep. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Oh, we just had one thing maybe.
Yeah.
So one thing is that to note is that it's not all about whether phone can handle, for example, our node or block production process, but it's also about the fact that if resources are scarce in the phone, then it's more likely that operating system will kill our app. So yeah, there is a thing to take into account as well.
Yeah, and also the other aspect is also network connectivity. So you can have like the best phone or the latest one, but if you are like in the middle of nowhere where connectivity is not that good, for instance, that may impact the behavior of your block production ability. So that's why it's somehow hard to answer clearly with clear specifications. But that would be also part of the documentation when we publish that.
Yeah. Are we EVM compatible?
I guess you can take that one.
I can take it, yeah. So, I mean, initially we're going to be pursuing just the smaller number of primitives. So there really won't be like, maybe under the hood, we're not sure we'll be there, but it won't be something that people can just deploy smart contracts to, probably. There is a question of once we do have some kind of general purpose smart contracts, CKVM probably on top, what we'll use for that. There, I would say EVM is possible, but that's not decided yet. So I would say potentially would be the answer. Yeah, okay. Next question, who is the team? So let's see. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I'm Evan. I was one of the co-founders of Mina. Many of us are from kind of ex-Mina folks. You can read more on Twitter, kind of as I mentioned before, but we were previously working on some of the stuff in Mina, but due to changes in that ecosystem, we wanted to keep pursuing this, but weren't able to there. So we are now pursuing that under this new project because we think it's interesting and important and we want to help make it happen. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of folks have deep backgrounds from across cryptocurrency, different projects, different deep experiences. We're mostly on the technical side of things, and probably at some point we'll put something live when we have documentation website or something that goes into more detail. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything there too. Yeah. Okay, nice. What about network security? Oh, we talked about this one actually. Yeah, if block production depends on user activity, which is not proof of stake, but proof of activity, there'll be different, basically like a different set of security assumptions that will involve stake, but also involve Sybil resistant proof of personhood that will also include in that documentation. And the next one says looks like proof of work, so I can say it's not proof of work. It'll be based on these other measures of involvement in the network, including stake. And that's important because we actually want to make it so it's lightweight to perform block production on the phone. And if we were to do something like proof of work, then, well, that wouldn't be the case for a lot of reasons. So can't do that. But the way we're doing it, hopefully will make it so it's efficient to get involved and run blocks, and run block production. Question from the chat. Do you think bringing in smart contract capabilities to the network will hamper the capacity to run a node on a consumer phone? So this probably relates back to kind of the network architecture and UTXO stuff if someone wants to take it, or whoever they want to approach it.
I can take it. So regarding smart contracts, like ones you have in Ethereum, for example, it relies on code being executed on each node, basically, and that is really not an option for us. We can't have all the block producers and the mobile phones, wallets, all of them just executing smart contracts on their phone for each transaction. That just cannot scale. So instead, what we would have is client-side ZK apps. It's so that there is no central place where the code is executed. Instead, it can be executed anywhere on any server or in user's mobile phone, and proof can be attached to it to prove the correct execution, and state can be updated then on chain with that proof. It's one thing. Still, for the simplicity of use, we might still have to have some executor on chain later on, but in whatever way we would design this, it wouldn't be so that mobile phones can have to execute them. It doesn't make sense for us, and especially when using ZK. Because there is simply no reason for every node to execute computation, which can be proven and verified in a much cheaper way than running the actual execution. It was kind of clear.
Yeah. No, thanks. Yeah, makes sense. One more question. Is it for? Well, let's answer the chat question first. Yes, so we have it working on iOS and on Android. We demoed like an iOS version if you go back, but both builds are there for both devices. Yeah. What are we using for? It's not React Native, right? Yeah.
No, it's not. For now, we are using Flutter. Yeah, that's the answer.
Yeah. Yes. And then one more question in the Slido. What is the consensus algo being used here for reaching finality? And what would be the result of malicious actors? Do we have slashing, etc.?
So we are missing that part, and as mentioned, we are still exploring options in that space, and what would be the best thing that suits us and our use case. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't comment on this yet until we decide on something concrete.
Yeah. Nice. So that's all the questions that we had come in between all the Slido and between YouTube chat so far. Does anyone have anything else they want to ask or talk about before we close this live stream?
Maybe just one clarification about the programming language we use. So the Flutter part is only for the mobile app, but the L1 itself is mainly Rust. Okay, and then we embed that L1 node into that Flutter application to make it running on mobile apps. So this is the way it works. So we didn't make an L1 using Flutter. Flutter.
Yeah, there's like a single Rust backend that we're compiling into these different places.
Yeah, correct. And also, so we highlighted a lot iOS and Android, but also we have versions for other kind of devices, your laptop, your server. So it will be compatible with those environments too.
Nice, yeah. Any other questions the folks might have? Okay, so yeah, if not, yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Thanks for asking all these questions. If you are interested in helping test this, please check out the link again to sign up to be a beta tester. It's in the description of the video. Also, you can remind earlier in the video, there's a link typed out on a slide for it. And yeah, thank you for listening, and we hope to see you around as we keep developing this new network.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Evan. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks all.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.